Today, I'm gonna give you 3 easy steps that you can take to get a refund for your car's problems. My name is Sina Rez Law, and I'm a lawyer. I help people who are sick and tired of their car's problems get a refund from the car manufacturer. And I do this using the lemon law. So to start, this isn't gonna cover everybody. This is not going to apply to everybody's car. For starters, you have to have some problems with your car. Secondly, your car has to be fairly new. It has to be, no more than 3-4 years old usually. So it needs to still be covered under the manufacturer's warranty, and most warranties expire right around that 3-4 year mark. Okay, now that we've established that, let's dive right into the first step. The first step is taking your car in for repair. So if you have a defective car, you have to give the manufacturer, usually through the dealership, a chance to repair the problem. Everyone's drove a car that's had at least some problem. You take it to the dealership most of the time, they take a look, give it back to you after a day or two, and problem solved. Great. What's not so great is if your problem happens again, or if maybe it's not just 1-2 days that they hold on to your car to make that repair. Maybe it's 1-2 weeks, maybe it's longer than that. So really the emphasis here is that if you have some problems with your car, you need to take it into the dealership. Now I know there's for example, some parents out there, they have car seats in the car, they need their car, especially living in California where I live. You can't really get around without a car. So what I would suggest is still, don't be lazy. Call the dealership, make an appointment in advance, make sure that they have a loaner or a rental available for you that's comparable to the car that you're driving, just to make your life that much easier. When you do take the car in for repair, make sure that you explain to them all of the problems that you're experiencing. Don't just focus on the ones that are really bothering you. List out everything for them, make them write that all down. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is you want to create evidence. This whole process is based on the law, the lemon law. And what do we know about the law? The law requires evidence. So what kind of evidence are we talking about here? For most lemon law cases, the evidence that we rely on is mainly the repair records. So those are the things that when you take the car to the dealership, usually when you first drop it off, they write down your problems, they give you a copy of that. Sometimes we call that the invoice. And then when you go to pick your car back up after it's been repaired or allegedly been repaired, then they give you something that's called a repair order or a service record. And in there, it should list, again, all of the problems that you complained of when you brought the car in, plus all of the solutions, everything they did for each of those problems and each step that they took, and whether they were able to verify the problem that you brought up. By verify, I mean they saw the same problem, they experienced the same problem that you were complaining of, and what steps they took to repair that problem, and the success of that repair. Were they able to fix it, or did they not have the parts available to fix it and they're telling you to go and come back later? That's a very important piece of evidence, as you can imagine. There's other evidence that you can create that's also very important, especially because sometimes the repair records don't look accurate, or they don't really get a good picture of what you experienced. So for example, navigation, the screen that displays your navigation, every once in a while, it'll just go black. Or maybe as you're reversing the car, that same screen usually shows an image of what the reverse camera is viewing. And you can imagine that that's really important. That's a safety feature. We want to make sure that you're not running over, God forbid, a pet or a person, and you don't want to smash into a building. So it's really important that you be able to see that screen. And every time you take it in for repair, they just tell you, hey, there's nothing wrong with the car. Every time we use it, it seems fine. And likely that's because you just have bad luck. And even though your problem happens once every 10 times, of course, when you take it into the dealership, they're not seeing the problem. So what you can do, really strongly say this, you want to be able to make sure that you do this only if it's safe for you to do it, is get your phone out, or if you have a passenger, ask them to take their phone out and take a photo or a video of the problem that you're experiencing. Not all problems are going to be able to be captured in a photo or a video. For example, if you're driving and you just feel something rubbing, for example, maybe it's like the wheel is rubbing on the inside of the car, that's not something that's really necessarily going to show up in a photo or video. So maybe this one won't apply there. But again, going back to that example of the screen going black, you want to take a photo or video of that if you can. And again, make sure that you're safe when you're doing that. Because then when you take the car into the dealership the next time and you tell them about the problem, you could say, and I happen to take a photo or a video of what's going on, and I want you to look at this so that your technician can do what they need to make sure that the car is fixed and the car is safe. Another thing I would recommend is if you are experiencing problems like this and you are able to take photos or videos, go ahead and make a folder on your phone because you want to keep everything organized. This is going to be an important transition to step number 3, but you want to keep everything organized, so don't throw away your repair records. If you're going to throw them away, at least scan them or take a picture of them and save them into a folder. But if you can, try to not to throw them away, try to keep them in a safe place. And then for any photos or videos that you take, make sure to save those in a folder on your phone so that you have them, which will lead us into step number 3. Step number 3 is contact a lawyer. You want to talk to a lemon lawyer, and I'll give you a couple great reasons why you should do that. So maybe, let's say for example, you even had a lemon in the past and you kind of understand what the process is like and you feel like you can do this on your own. Normally, for other types of law, maybe I would say, great, go ahead, do it on your own. But for lemon law, it just doesn't make any sense to do it that way. And the reason for that is because you don't actually pay a lemon law lawyer. That's right, I know it's one of those things that could sound too good to be true, but it's not. So the lemon law was written in a way where they understand that the defendants, meaning the companies that we're going after in these types of situations, these are usually multi-billion dollar companies. Companies like, some of the world's biggest companies, Tesla, GM, you name it. These are huge companies, and obviously they could spend a ton of money on legal fees, court fees, etc. They could drown you by spending enough money just to make the problem go away. But the law was written in a way they understand that you, as the average Joe or average Jane, you're not going to have the same amount of resources to compete with a company like that. So they say that if you have a lemon, meaning if you have a vehicle that qualifies for a buyback, which is the result that we're trying to get you in this whole process to get you that refund. So if you have that, then the law says that the manufacturer, the company that we're going after, has to pay for your legal fees, along with a bunch of other fees, but they have to pay for your lawyer. So why not hire a lawyer and make someone else pay the bill for it? That way you go through this process, not on your own, not trying to just figure it out by reading blogs online or watching videos like this one, but with an expert who's done this thousands of times before, gotten results thousands of times before for people just like you, people who are in your situation. So it's really a no-brainer. You definitely want to hire a lawyer. And if you're not sure if you have a case, or if you're not sure if you have a case quite yet, that's a perfect time to call a lawyer. Have a consultation with them. No one's ever going to charge you for an initial consultation, especially with lemon law. No one's ever going to charge you at all. So you want to reach out to them and have that conversation. A good lemon law lawyer at this point will tell you, hey, what kind of evidence do you have for your problems? And that's where step number 2 comes in handy. You now have all of your repair records. You have any additional photo or video evidence, or maybe even audio recordings saved. You can share those with the lawyer and they'll review it and they'll tell you whether A, you've got a rock solid case, B, whether you're close and maybe there's a couple steps that need to be taken before you have a case, or C, they'll explain to you why you might not qualify. And if they tell you for any reason that you don't qualify, always get at least one more opinion. Like I said, it's free for you to get these consultations, so why not get that legal advice? Use that chance to speak with an expert in the field for free. We'll talk about what the lemon law process looks like if you do have a case in a different video, but as a bonus for watching this deep into the video, I'll give you a little sneak peek on what that looks like. Usually if you have a solid case, at that point, we've reviewed your records, we know that things look legit, we've heard your story, we've taken notes on that, and now we're ready to file a lawsuit. We will then file a lawsuit against the manufacturer, and we'll explain to them how you've had these problems, your problems have been repeating, or it's taken too long to fix, or something wasn't safe about the car. And if you have a solid case, usually the manufacturer wants none of that. They don't want to let your lawyer continue to work on the case because they know that they're eventually going to have to pay for your lawyer's fees. So if you have a solid case, the manufacturer likely will then reach out to the lawyer shortly after the lawsuit is filed, and they'll say, "What do you want?" Which is music to a lawyer's ears. And we'll tell them we want the max that's available for our client. We want everything that the law says that our client is owed. So that's essentially a refund. We'll talk in a different video about how we calculate how much is owed in your refund. And there's some additional expenses that if you've incurred them, we can get those covered as well. And we'll make sure that our fees are covered by the manufacturer so that you don't have to pay us a penny. Those are 3 easy steps that really anyone can take if they have a vehicle that can qualify. So it's new enough and it's still under the manufacturer's warranty and it has problems. If you fit those categories, make sure to take those steps, especially talking to a lawyer, and get started on your lemon law claim. You may be owed potentially thousands of dollars. Every case is different, so I can't promise you how much you're going to be getting. This is all the legal language that we have to say at the end of some of these videos. But talk to a professional and see what rights you have and see if you're eligible to get started right away. If you have any questions about the lemon law, whether you qualify, if you do qualify, how much you qualify for, maybe you've even been offered a buyback already from the manufacturer and you're not sure how much you should be asking for, go ahead and reach out. You can see all of our contact information below. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you enjoyed this video and you're interested in seeing more videos like it, go ahead and like and subscribe. And remember, this is not legal advice.